Welcome to Something to Talk About, a lively hour of open discussion covering, well, anything and everything. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, husband, father, and military veteran, and Vaughn Loick, wife, mother, and best-selling author. Now, Something to Talk About. Stuart and Vaughn.
Well, good morning. It's another edition of Something to Talk About, and for those of you who are listening to us via the radio or your mobile app, you will hear another voice in the room, the voice of Lauren Sachs.
It is I.
It's
but we're
you,
on Facebook. And how's the hair? And
if you're watching us via YouTube or Facebook, then you know that Vaughn isn't here.
Well, yeah.
She actually, this was spring break, and so she got away with the family and was supposed to come back and then possibly go back into substitute teaching next week. And now, because of the issues with the coronavirus and all,
she could stay.
The schools are closed next week.
Yeah.
She's probably on her way back and thinking,
"Whoa,
man. If I knew the schools were closed,
I would have stayed on the beach."
I send another order of Mai Tais down.
Absolutely.
Down to the beach, but
Phil probably has to get back to work.
Yep. But we are here. We have our water. We have our hand sanitizer.
That's I'm bathing in it.
Yes, it's interesting. I attended a meeting this morning, and Fire Chief Palan from the city of Frisco, the Frisco Fire Chief, spoke about how the community is reacting to the coronavirus issue and all.
Right.
And he also talked about the hand sanitizer, washing your hands, how important that was, because this virus is different from a lot of other viruses, and that is that it doesn't stay airborne quite as long as other flu viruses do. The danger of this virus is if someone who has it coughs and the droplets go on a surface,
right.
or you wipe your hands, you shake hands with somebody
right.
after they might have just sniffed or that's how it is transmitted. That's the danger of it. That's why they're telling everyone to wash your hands frequently. There was information that came over the net regarding simple things that you can do. You know, number one, everybody's panicking because they can't find test kits in order to find out if you've got the virus.
You know, at that point, it doesn't really matter.
There was something. In fact, I was listening on the way over to the station that was saying, if you are showing some definite symptoms, flu-like symptoms, it's important. Don't wait until a test kit is available.
Right.
Go to the ER. Let them determine, because a lot of the medical community still has access to things that the private community doesn't have,
right.
like hand sanitizer and wipes and that. But the one point that the chief was making is we are forcing ourselves to do things that we really should be doing on a regular basis.
That's correct.
And that is washing your hands
Absolutely.
frequently and using hand sanitizer. Keeping hydrated also is something that everybody who is listening, this is something that can help you prevent from contracting the disease. And this is how. If you find that your mouth is dry, that means you don't have enough fluid in your system. And what you should do is keep a bottle of water and take a sip every 15 or 20 minutes. Because if for any reason you are in an airborne situation where you might inhale any kind of a virus, it could be a flu virus as well as the coronavirus.
Right.
If it goes into your system and you're washing it down to the stomach acids will neutralize the virus. So that's one way that you can prevent.
Very good.
Doing it.
I'm proud of you.
And
you don't always remember these things, but that's also thank you to Aunt Kathy, who sent a whole list of do's and don'ts.
And it was
it
was a report from Stanford University that was being disseminated. and it's just good common sense.
It is.
Because this particular virus is more dangerous on a surface than
Yes.
it is. Yeah, for instance, right now here in Frisco, it's raining outside. If somebody had that virus or any flu virus and they were to sneeze outside, it would probably get washed down and gone. It
Right.
doesn't have the ability to fly
and
around.
most viruses and colds, we say if it would only get cold and stay cold, because it would freeze the germs and they would go away.
This is exactly the
Unfortunately,
opposite.
this one, thrives in warm weather and humidity. Well, that's
No.
not so good. In warm weather.
It will, but it will die in hot weather. It dies faster. The coronavirus will.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So that means the sooner it warms up around here, the lesser the possibility of contracting
That's not what
the
I
virus.
meant. That's not what I meant.
No, that's
Really?
Yep.
Because see,
This
and that's what
particular
happens when
virus
you hear
does
all
not
different
do well
things.
with heat. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
tough.
You have to take the media with a grain of salt right now.
Correct.
My feeling is, and it goes a little bit against my normal grain, is that you turn on the TV and you listen. A lot of the news that's coming out is very contradictive. But
That's right.
the important thing is whatever news channel you like to follow and all, if there's a doctor, listen to what the medical community is saying. Go to the CDC online and see what they are saying, because they are the ones that have the best handle on what's happening. Unfortunately, our Congress people, the lay people, the private community can say what they will about canceling these events and everything because of the coronavirus. It almost sounds like the reason that they're canceling it is because the virus is upon us.
No.
The chief said today that fortunately there are three known cases here in Collin County, where Frisco
Four?
is.
Now there's four, Sydney?
And if I'm not mistaken, I think either all four are within one family or three of them are in one family.
One new one just was found in McKinney yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. But compared to the state of Washington, the Seattle area, which maybe because it was more of an international hub for flights, it's becoming more prevalent in some other areas of the country.
Right.
There's areas of the world right now. Northern Italy is basically shut down.
Poor Italy.
And there are people that are there that can't get back here. And
That's
there's
right.
more restrictions. What you need to focus on is where you are living, where you are listening to us right now. Go to the local medical community there to find out what their take is on this. The local hospitals, and find out what the necessary precautions are there.
That's true.
If it means canceling your plans for the weekend, do it. Stay home, read a book.
That's what we've done.
Watch TV.
That's
Yep.
what we've done. But I would say CDC is a good website, and our son also texted Johns Hopkins. So if you want something on basics, what to do, symptoms,
Right.
or what to do if you're feeling sick, what to take, what not to take, go there. But yes, go to your local news and see what they have to say.
And if you are over the age of 60 and all, you are more at risk because your autoimmune system starts to deplete past the age of 60. And the chief this morning even said that the chances are between 60 and 80 are increased, but over the age of 80, it almost triples.
Yes.
So again, you have to stay in touch with your parents and your grandparents, and where they are located to see what the recommendations are for that area. And nobody wants to miss. We had tickets for basketball this weekend, and the rest of the season has been canceled.
And we have tickets for theater next weekend, 2 theaters, and we're not going to make
And
them,
we have to wait and see whether those are canceled or whether they have taken enough
probably
precautions in order to do it. And And in some cases, things are being canceled. In other cases, it's simply being postponed.
Right.
But it's being postponed for a real reason.
They're saying it's going to be hardest on the elderly, the ones in the retirement homes, or the ones that are home alone that can't get out. Well, they can get out, but they're not supposed to. And they're asking families to make sure they check on them.
Right.
To FaceTime with them, to Skype with them, to text them, give them something to do.
And the unfortunate side of this is they're telling everybody to use hand sanitizer, to get sanitary wipes,
Right.
to wipe down surfaces, and
If you can find them.
That's the
Under
problem.
$100 for a package of 24. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I
the
resent
stories,
it.
Yeah,
And
it's terrible.
people are online on all the apps pleading with other neighbors and friends, please don't go and take and hoard it all. And it's true. They're having a hard time getting supplies for the hospitals because of the hoarding.
They did mention that
businesses can't get supplies.
that the medical community does have a little bit different network to get
They probably do.
their supplies from that is not available to the public network. But the public network is they're panicking. You can't. First of all, it started with the hand sanitizer and the wipes, and everybody was grabbing those and the face masks.
Right.
Because if you're going to travel, they said to wear a face mask. You couldn't find them. You couldn't find them online. You couldn't find them in the stores. Then all of a sudden, you couldn't find bottled water. Everybody was grabbing up all the bottled water. Now it's toilet paper that people are hoarding.
It's ridiculous.
Hoarding
It's getting
toilet
to be a
paper.
little.
They showed a picture. When was it, last night or something, of a Walmart store?
Yes, it was in Chicago.
In Chicago,
Target or Walmart.
where
There was
virtually everything was gone
for
from the
2
shelves.
aisles. Nothing.
I went to Kroger and Walmart yesterday. Both are completely out of toilet paper.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I don't get it. Phew.
and the sad thing is that somebody that's got some of that toilet paper will say, "Oh, well, I can sell you a 4-pack of toilet paper for $30," and people will pay it.
30. Up it.
Really?
Up it. Well, and that's why there is a large website, and I
Jeez.
won't say the name. It's a very large website. And it was just reported in the news yesterday that they were having, this is where I saw everything overpriced. Toilet paper for $90 for a roll of 6.
Jeez.
Wipes, sanitizer, all, a little bottle, $85. Well, now something's happened, and that company got after all these advertisers, and it's off of the website.
Really?
They got them off. And that's how it should be. That's
Now,
not
there was a
right.
naturalist that posted online about certain plants that the leaves are safe enough to wipe
use.
your bottom
Yes.
to use instead of toilet paper.
Yes.
I mean, what have we come to when now we've got to find alternate sources?
Well, I'm just
Brother.
glad that some of these people that are trying to rip others off, that
Are being
this
shut
large
down.
company
Yeah.
did. They were able to take them off of the site, and that at least it helps somewhat. But you think something as silly as going for a manicure or pedicure, and they can't get gloves.
Can't get gloves.
Now they
also
were
cannot
getting
get
gloves,
face
but again
masks.
they were overpriced, and now they can't get them at all. So do you want to go there? Do you take a chance?
Well, that's one of the reasons why it is a good option to just cancel it for now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'll just make an appointment in another couple of weeks or
Right.
next month, and I
Or
will just
3
stay
months.
at home in my own environment, and if necessary, put some soap on a rag and wipe down
Absolutely.
your counters.
Soap and water. I was going crazy just for a little while, getting a lot of hand sanitizers, and realized, you dummy, just use soap.
Yeah, Dove.
Yeah, all of
You can
that.
use that.
I will
to
say the
wipe your-
sand sanitizers are very drying, but not. Those are personal comments. Sorry.
Well, that's because
But-
you get an off-brand because it's the only thing that's available.
No, it's all
So-
it's all very dry, and then
Yeah.
you put lotion on it, whatever.
Well, I wouldn't want your little hands to get dry.
No, it is. It is.
Trying
dry, but
now you're not only trying to buy hand sanitizer, but find some hand sanitizer that has a little lanolin.
that won't
or
happen.
something
That
in
won't
it.
happen. But yeah, use soap and water. What did they do? Years ago, we didn't have hand sanitizer.
Just get in your easy chair and take a nap.
Watch a lot of movies,
Oh, yeah, get caught up.
and we have a list.
Get caught up. You know,
We have a list.
binge watch. That's the alternative.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
Do you remember a time that we had anything this bad? Now, we've had pandemics, which is what we were going to talk about today, and the panic that sets in. But I never remember a time that it was like this. People hoarded things. I mean, there was the gas shortage that
Yes.
that we can talk about. But
Well, one thing that the chief brought up, and he had a schematic that showed that the coronavirus potentially, because we don't have an anti
correct. Viral. You don't have a medication.
a medication for it,
Yeah.
and by the time they come out with a medication, just
be
like
done.
with flu,
Right.
they'll come out with a flu shot to help you to fight the chances of influenza. But that's for a specific
Specific
influenza.
strain. Right.
And the next year there's a new strain
Correct.
of it. But he was showing that rubella, measles, mumps, those kinds of things on a schematic were in a lower tier than where coronavirus is now. But the coronavirus pandemic that they're talking about right now is not as severe as SARS was
Yes.
many years ago,
Yes.
and there were a couple of
The
other
H1N1,
Yeah.
which I wrote down.
there
somewhere.
were some of those viruses were actually more deadly, if you will, than what this one is. The reason is because they seem to have identified this, and even though it is spreading now, they've been able to identify it early enough that people can start to take precautions.
Correct. Right.
The issue is there are going to be areas of the world that this virus will continue to grow and spread. Other areas, like in the central part of the world, around the equator, Africa, there are no. I think they said there were no reports, or very, very few reports in Africa, in around the equator, because the temperatures have started to climb already
Yeah.
to the point where it just doesn't have a life in those areas. So we just need to be aware of it and deal with it. But to your point of earlier, have we gone through things like this before? Yes. We've gone through medical emergencies. We've gone through gas shortages.
We have. And they hoarded gas at that point.
Yep.
But then you were only allowed to get so much gas. But
Yeah.
I've never seen it like this with going to a store and being wiped out with
Well,
what you
because
need.
nobody put any kind of limits on any of it. It wasn't the stores that would say, "Listen, people are coming in and they're buying eight cases of water." All right, right away we want to make sure people have water, so you're limited to 1 or 2 cases of water, and let the people run from store to store to store to get
Yeah,
2 cases of
yeah.
water if they want. But I remember back in the 70s when there was an oil shortage, worldwide oil
Right.
shortage.
Correct.
That you were limited to buying 10 gallons
Right.
at a time.
Right.
And sometimes people would hire somebody to take their car and sit in a line that was
Did they
maybe a
really?
half a oh yeah. In the Chicago area, I remember specifically that they, if they had to go to work, they couldn't sit in line for
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours to get 10 gallons of gas. They would hire somebody to take their car and sit in line to get the 10 gallons of gas, then leave that station
And go to another?
and go to another station and sit in line to get another 10 gallons so that they would have adequate fuel to get back and forth to work.
But then there were days, you had days that you could only get gas. You
Even
were
an-
assigned
even
days.
an odd.
Yes,
Yeah.
according to the license
Your-
plate.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
If your license plate was an even number,
Yep.
then you could go on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
And if it was odd, it was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Right.
But you know what? As crazy as some of those ideas sound, they helped a volatile
Yes.
situation. We're
Well-
not in that point right now where people still don't know what is happening and where this is going. But to walk into a store and go into the canned goods aisle and find nothing. Because somebody says, "Oh, this is the whole world's going to shut down. We're going to and we're
Yeah.
just going to have to lock ourselves in the house. So we have to have 20 cans of something."
No, I remember.
Wow.
I remember watching the news in the 70s and them showing fights that would break out in the gas lines.
Oh yeah.
And that I can remember, and but that was it. I mean, that's all I remember.
Well,
and I remember my parents being afraid. We used to take car rides on Sundays, and
you had to shelve
you
that.
had to, yeah, you didn't do that. But we had 2 cars to play with. Some people only had 1, so that became really tough on them.
Well, and now there is an issue with the worldwide oil situation again,
Yes.
and whether that's going to drive prices up again and make it more difficult.
Now it's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
I
And
can't get
again,
over it.
because it is well under $2 a gallon in many places, people are buying gas cans and filling them up.
I don't think that's safe.
And keeping gas cans of gasoline in their garages because when it goes back up to $2.50 a gallon, they want to make sure that they have. Now they're putting themselves into a more volatile
Yeah,
situation.
that's horrible. Well, at least it's not during the summer when people are thinking of their boats.
Yeah.
Although maybe that's what they're thinking of now, to keep it for their boats. But at any rate,
Well,
it's not
the
smart.
the answer to that is don't ever let your tank get beyond half. When it gets down to about half a tank, go fill it up.
I feel that way on a regular basis. I don't
Yeah.
let my tank get
Quarter of
further
a tank
than,
is usually our
Yeah.
limit.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
And that's a smart move. You don't want to use up all your gas and then find
No.
out that you can't get it or
right.
the price has gone up to make it prohibitive. And now they have apps. Gas Buddy. You can go on
That's really helpful.
a Gas Buddy app and you can
Yeah,
see what the
I
gas
love it.
price is at every
Absolutely.
gas station near you.
And then you report them
Yeah.
if they're because
If you-
when you
if
get
you-
there and it's not right,
And
I
it's
report
not what's
them.
on the gas app. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do too.
But the other thing, I guess I'm very slow or I don't want to deal with it. It's the fact that I realized I really am a senior. Because when they've been showing the news, I was talking to my mother and I said, I'm a senior. She says, no, you're not. Your mother always thinks you're young. They
Sure.
don't think.
Well, you're always her baby.
Yeah, right. and when I said, I'm over 60, you are. and then it just, I don't know.
Well, a part of me wants to
I just
say
didn't want to say anything.
if I walk into the drugstore and I need something, I say, "Hey, I'm a senior citizen. Don't I get to go to
Yeah.
the head of the line?"
Yeah, in
You
some
know?
respects, it may help, but
No.
I happen to think, I'm one of those people that needs to stay home and and take care of themselves because I could be next.
Right. Well,
Ooh.
we'll reassess this. We'll take a pause for a commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the history of hoarding and artificial scarcities and things like that. So we'll be right back with more of something to talk about.
3, 2, 1. KVGIRadio.com.
Y'all have really just opened my bubble and just.
KVGI Radio brings you conversation and entertainment. Be sure to follow us on social media. Who streams the best talk shows? We do.
listening to KVGIRadio.com. Streaming live from the KVGI studios in Frisco, Texas. Live without limits.
Welcome to Something to Talk About, a lively hour of open discussion covering, well, anything and everything. Hosted by Stuart Sachs, husband, father, and military veteran, and Vaughn Loick, wife, mother, and best-selling author. Now, Something to Talk About. Stuart and Vaughn.
And it's Stuart and Lauren back live. There was reports that maybe we were bleeding through a little bit during the commercial break, but we were only sharing additional information as we were going through the break. But we're here with
anything juicy.
Yeah, with our water and our hand sanitizer, and we're ready for the rest of the show. And
We're not taking a break.
We just did.
That's it.
That was it.
Oh.
That was.
So
it.
now it's all about us.
And now it's back to something to talk about.
Yeah, I know, but I thought there was going to be a second break.
Do you want a second break?
No,
We
no.
could take a second break, but-
Look at this. We have
But
scans of information. At least I have scans.
Yeah, I think what we got to say is more important than even a break.
Yeah, I agree.
One other thing we'll share with our audience to see if you are having any kind of a respiratory issue, which is kind of where it starts. They say when you get up in the morning, the first thing you do is take a deep breath, hold it for 10 seconds, and if while you're holding your breath, it forces you to cough, then you may be building up some fluid inside your system, which goes to the lungs.
I'm not.
And you become fibro, whatever they call it.
Could you be silent for 10 seconds?
Hold my breath. I probably
Or quiet.
I probably could, but the important thing is if you don't cough, then go ahead and proceed with your day.
Are you okay?
But the only other thing is, and Lauren, you have said it over and over and over again, and I've heard it from almost everybody I come into contact with. Keep drinking. Keep hydrated.
It's hard to remember.
And
It really
right
is.
now during this, they say to keep a bottle of water and take a sip every 15 to 20 minutes.
Cheers to you.
Take enough just to make sure that your mouth is wet. Because if somebody around you or where you're at sneezes and all, and you can you breathe it in, drink some more water and wash it down to your stomach,
it really
because your
does.
stomach will take care of it.
It washes out all the impurities.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I mean, I many times have a bottle or a glass of water next to me when I'm watching a movie. I forget to pick up the glass.
Well,
But
I do.
so
I do
yeah,
too.
but it is. It's very important, and there's controversy as to 6 to 8 glasses of water a day.
You can't have enough water.
Just keep drinking. That's all I
You
can
can't
say.
have enough water, especially for the senior community.
Right, except you'll be in the bathroom
It's-
all day.
it's-
But yeah,
it's
that's
even
fine.
well. So you go to the bathroom and then you go back and have another drink. It is a cyclical thing, folks.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's
I mean,
them's
you
the
want
breaks.
to take a chance and not go to the bathroom.
Them's the
Don't
breaks.
drink anything, and then you run the risk
No.
of getting the
no.
coronavirus.
Well, we are not in a lot of crowds normally. I mean, we go to occasional basketball games and occasional concert, and we really haven't been to any. And so,
But I mean,
But, yeah,
and
you have to
everybody
watch
is
it, but-
starting to hurt too because restaurants are meeting places for people, and now if the restaurants don't have the patrons,
that's right.
that hurts them financially. If they have to close, they have to lay their people off temporarily.
That's
The
right.
schools are closed now again for another week.
What do people do for daycare? If they
Well-
have, or maybe they're not working, so that's all right. But what happens if
Well,
they
there
are?
is kind of an upside to that, and that is that while the children in our area just are coming off of their
spring break.
spring break,
Right.
the schools are going to be closed next week.
Yeah.
However, there are a lot of corporations and businesses that are also either shutting their doors or they are allowing people to work from home.
Correct.
And that is the upside because
would help.
if the kids got to be home and mom or dad can do their work from home, now
Right.
that's kind of a win-win.
Yes.
It's when you're in a situation where you have to be on site. Now you got to scramble around to try and find somebody that's going to take care of the kiddos while you have to go to
It's
work.
awful. It's affecting everybody. Yeah, and it's scary. It's affecting. Well, we all know the stock market.
Oh, brother, that's a whole
That's
nother
yeah,
conversation.
and I think it's all because of fear. It's plain old panic and
and
fear.
it's not a new thing.
No.
We've gone back over the decades. There was a shortage of certain drugs that people needed.
Correct.
And what happens if the drug that you normally take is say $20 for a 30-day supply? Now all of a sudden, if that drug is in short supply, now it goes to $120 for
Right.
that 30-day supply,
It's-
or
we
worse.
talked about that.
Like spiking. We don't have regulations in place, and a lot of businesses will not self-regulate themselves
Right.
in an honorable way. They just see, oh, we just received a truckload of toilet paper. Well, normally that would be $15 for what, 20 rolls. It's now $115
Yeah.
for 20 rolls.
That should be outlawed.
Uh,
And I'm sure that it is, but they
And
they do it because nobody.
and it probably will be
nobody looks.
restricted, but it'll be restricted after somebody makes a lot of money off of people, and people are willing to pay it.
But I question at this point. We all know what's happening. I think that we are being fed finally some news on symptoms and what to do. I've seen things on if you're sick, keep yourself, which I've always said when we get colds.
Segregate yourself.
Yeah, stay in one room, use one bathroom, and if you have to get up and walk around, okay, but not a lot. Wash your hands, but stay in one area of the house. But they keep going, and I think it's really, really getting to people. And there was a something that I read online that said how much time they're spending on the coronavirus, and how much time they're spending on the rest of the world, like on climate change. We really
Yeah.
need to be worried about climate change. How much time they're spending on that in.
It's like whatever the top issue is right now. The total focus is on that, and everything else gets
Right.
shelved.
Now, they're saying in 2019, the newscast, there was only 238 minutes on climate change for that year. And everything
Yeah.
else, thousands, hundreds of thousands of minutes on everything else, but that climate change. So that's what I'm saying. I wish we could
In some
ease up a little bit.
Yeah. I
on
mean,
what's
in some
going on.
cases, it's like a domino effect. It can be issues with the climate that cause these diseases to become born.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying and anything you turn on, it's all about the coronavirus. And yes, we have to know about it, but I think it's driving people to a real panic and a real frenzy.
You have to be sensible about it.
Well, but that's the news media.
There
They're
was
going to
a-
report what's ever.
There was a
current.
question that was raised this morning at the meeting is what are the religious communities doing now with
Yeah.
with all of this are and really one of the answers was that each individual church or synagogue has to make up their own mind whether they want to postpone or cancel their services, because obviously the large churches that have thousands of people or hundreds of people might react differently than maybe a small church that only has 50
Right.
parishioners
Correct.
that might still want to go forward with their services. You have to deal with it, and it's almost impossible to say that something was scheduled for next month and we're going to cancel it. We are doing this a little bit closer to the needed times, and that's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing because people don't want to have to cancel things if they don't have to.
Right.
But you can't. You run the risk of, if you were expecting 100 people to show up,
Right.
and there's a lot of people that say, I don't want to take a chance, you could end up doing whatever the event is and only 20 people are there.
Well, I'm thankful that we are being more proactive. All of a sudden, it's happening. What I see, talking about news media, and you see Korea, China, they're
Italy?
all, excuse me, in Italy, yeah, talk about coughing.
Yeah.
You see them testing people on the street. They've
shown
that's all they do is
Yeah.
test.
they've
take
shown
people's
videos people
temperatures.
getting off of planes and
That
everything.
was
and
what I
they've-
was
they've
gonna
got
say.
The
The thermometer.
thermometer scans.
Yes, we're not doing that.
No.
And I think that's also what makes people afraid and nervous. There was a psychologist on that said, when you are told to wash your hands, the action doesn't seem appropriate to the threat. Like, it's not enough. People need to be doing more. And I think a lot of people, because we're not doing as much, they're reacting and they're afraid.
Yeah.
And they're just driven into panic mode. And when you keep hearing all of these things on TV, because it's from morning until night. This is all you're hearing. I think it's true what he says. Panic begets panic.
Right.
It just,
It's and again, this is not a new phenomenon. It's just that it's resurfaced because of this latest issue, this
Yes.
latest scare. We spent 20 years in South Florida. Every summer when the hurricane season started, you would track the hurricanes. The hurricanes would come through the Caribbean, and they would head either towards the Gulf of Mexico, they would head up the east coast of America, they would come across Florida, and as soon as they would say, well, it looks like we are in the cone,
right.
then all of a sudden, boy, the hardware stores
Oh, my
couldn't
God.
buy nails, couldn't buy hammers, couldn't buy plywood. The water again, and this was every year. What people are doing now because of this virus happens almost every year in storm
That's
areas.
very true. Do you remember what happened when we were living in the Keys, and the Keys were supposed to get hurt? And what did everyone do? They ran, literally, got in their
Oh.
cars and all ran to Orlando.
They all went to Orlando because Orlando is the largest concentration of hotel rooms
And what
in the
happened?
state. There were 3 hurricanes within a matter of a month that all went around the east and the west coast and crisscrossed right into the middle of
And they all
Florida.
went to Orlando.
Yep.
And the Keys, it was bright and sunny.
So go
So,
figure.
I
And
mean,
and
so-
again, yeah, it shut down. They sent home the tourists first.
Yep.
Then the hotels shut down. Then the restaurants closed. And this is kind of the same thing. But folks, be prudent about this. Number one, they have identified the fact that the gestation period for this virus is approximately 14 days.
Right.
So that means if they notice that there's a situation where somebody has contracted it, probably within 14 days, if they have not passed it on and affected somebody else, it's probably going to fade away. You can't say it will, but
Right.
the chances are likely that it will start to fade away. So that means we just have to be prudent for 14 days. Now, you have to have 150 rolls of toilet paper to get you through the next 14 days. Come on,
Who knows?
Be
No,
realistic.
but you have to take action. If you feel a sore throat coming on, if you feel a tickle in your throat,
Yes.
your nose starts running a little bit, you stay home and you start gargling with salt water, with aspirin, take some tea, whatever you would do for that cold. Get some NyQuil, whatever you do, start using it and get ahead of it.
And also,
That's what you need to do.
why do you have to hoard all of the bottled water that's in the stores when the tap water that you have at home can get you through?
That's correct.
Most people have refrigerators that have filtered water that comes out of their refrigerator.
And those that
And
don't,
unless you get a report that the reservoir is dried up and there's no more tap water coming
you can
through,
boil your water if you feel safer.
you can do that
You
too.
can do that, and it's just as good. Put some lemon in it, and there you go.
You get back to basics.
Well, that's a lot of it, and we're in a go society, and give me a pill to fix it.
Yeah.
There's no pill for this yet.
Right. And when there is a pill for this, and there will be a
I don't know,
serum.
It's a viral, so I don't know.
But there will be a
There'll be an
there
anti-vaccine.
Yeah, they will have it. But the thing is, will this resurface next year as
It could.
coronavirus 20
Good,
or 21?
good.
Will we be a step ahead of the game because we already have an antivirus and it'll just be refined? Will it be available to the mass public at an affordable cost? Or will the drug industries say, well, yeah, we can get you the virus or we can get you the pill, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg?
Well, hopefully the hospitals have stockpiled more.
And we'll get it, yeah.
And I mean, I feel sorry for the nurses and the doctors who are having to work extra hours. Kudos to them, extra hours, and sometimes don't have the correct masks because they're
Right.
gone, or gloves.
The-
I mean, that's rough.
You know, the upside to the modern technology that we have is instead of running over to the kid's house to see if they're okay, you can FaceTime with them. You know, you can.
Yes.
And you know what?
Yes, you're right.
That
And
brings
you
up
can
another
text.
point. That brings up another point that the chief made today. You know what is the number one cause of transmitting germs?
The cell phone.
The cell phone.
Yeah, and we
It's
don't
in
think
your
to.
hand constantly.
You got to wipe it
and
off.
take it and also wipe this down. Put some of
Right.
the hand sanitizer on your hands, and even if you have to, wipe it on your phone.
And don't dry it.
Right. Yeah.
Let it dry by itself.
Yeah. And because it's in front of your face
Mhm.
when you're talking and listening, you put it down, or you hand it to somebody else,
Right.
and it gets more fingerprints on it than any other item.
Did you see that report about China where if you're a senior over 60, they're segregating you when you go to like a gym in a high school or whatever, and they have cots, and the seniors stay there, all of them that have tested positive for
Oh,
the
okay.
coronavirus. They go to this certain place.
they're quarantined
in
like
this
that.
certain place all together. And they have proper gloves, and some of them, I think they said some of the places have suits even that these seniors wear
Protective.
to protect them and the other people. And they have movies for them. They have games for them. They have yoga and exercise classes for them to get them out so the virus doesn't go into pneumonia.
Yeah.
Because you gotta, keep going and stand up and move. I'm very impressed. This was on the national news. That this is what they're doing.
Well, they're also saying right now that they feel that they may have reached the apex in China
that's
for the virus,
possible.
and now they're starting to see a drop
decline.
off in cases.
right.
Well, it started there, and if they're starting to see a decline there, then it is very possible that will proceed around the rest of the world, that
We hope.
that we will see that we have maybe spiked and that there is a downside
Yeah,
to
but
this
that's
too.
that's also the downside of this virus. We need to stay home, but yet we should watch some movies, but get up, walk around. We could go outside. Outside is fine.
But it's raining.
Well,
Here it is. Anyway, and
yeah,
it's
if you like
supposed to have
walking in the rain,
been- right,
but I
then you
suppose
catch
it's not
pneumonia.
good for the virus. But no, seriously, walking outside, they tell you, go outside, do things outside, garden, just sit and read a book. But
Yeah,
that's not a problem.
Inhale all of that pollen from the from the trees and the flowers that are blooming right now.
I'm just saying it's an option.
What I'm making light of it, but you know what? You
Yes.
have to have some kind of a positive attitude.
Well, because you could go crazy.
Oh, absolutely. If you listen, if you listen to
you
the
could
scare
really.
tactics, because the media is trying to do that. You know, breaking news.
Well, that's what
you
I say.
know,
It's on
do more-
constantly.
You know, 5 more cases were found here and there, and people go, "Oh my gosh, I better run over to the store and buy whatever I
Let's
can
talk
find."
about something else for a little while.
What do you want to talk about?
Not us. I'm talking about the news
Oh,
media.
that's
the
true.
news media.
Yeah, talk about what are we going to have for dinner tonight? You go in the cupboard. There's 450 cans of
Soup.
something. Yes.
Soup and tuna fish. And we got a lot of peanut butter.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, we do. That's one thing we're stocked up on.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Peanut butter. But
Well,
it's
it's a scary time for everybody.
and we don't want to
but-
make light of this.
No.
It is a serious
It
situation.
is.
But stay in
We'll get
touch
over
with
it.
your local news. When you turn on NBC or CBS or ABC and all or Fox, you're seeing a national
Right. That's
a
correct.
perspective. You have to localize it. You have to find out. The chief said today that Dallas, Texas, is one of the centers, one of the best prepared centers in the nation for dealing with this virus. So a lot of them are the major cities with the major.
I would think major
hospitals.
cities, do have town hall meetings, or they have a meeting that you can call into so that everybody isn't in the room telling people what's going on in this city, in this suburb.
Right.
So
Talk
I
to your
would,
doctor. Call your doctor and say, doctor, are there any information that you have received through the medical community and things that maybe I should be doing?
well, I will say the doctors, if you get sick, I'm not going to my doctor. I'm going to a med center or an urgent care. They're the ones that can deal with you on an immediate basis. Yeah, the doctor, you could talk to him, but
Well, you can call the doctor and
But-
he might get back to you within 2 or 3 days.
no, if you need some immediate help, the emergency room or the urgent care center is what I would do.
Yeah. And if you have seniors in your life, check on them. Make sure that they are okay.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
They're having some of the kids are writing letters to their grandparents now because they're getting bored at home, and now that school's going to be, what do? They're saying, please write letters to the seniors in your life. They'll give you something to do.
Come on.
Yeah,
They don't
that's what they're
text
saying.
them?
Well, what if it's somebody that's further away? Send pictures, send whatever.
You got a 5G network on your phone.
Well, not
You
all
can
kids
text
have a
anyone
phone. It'd
everywhere.
be good for the kids to write a letter. When was the last time?
Your son went to Europe a month or so ago, and he
No, we're
and he
talking- I'm talking little
called us,
kids.
and then he sounded like he was next door.
We have 46 seconds, but I'm talking little ones, like our grandson, the little kids.
Yeah, he's
They need to write letters.
he's too busy on his iPad anyway. But
He's got good printing.
yes, he
Very
does.
good printing.
He does. Well, folks, we want you to stay safe, stay
Yes.
informed. Watch what's
Yeah.
going on in the news. Please don't panic, and I'll be reasonable about this. This too will pass.
Will.
Every epidemic that we have had in our history, it always passes. Sometimes earlier, sometimes
We
a
will
little
laugh
bit later.
about it.
We will look back.
Down
We will
the
look back,
line,
and hopefully
and
we
we'll-
will learn. We will learn
Right.
from it, and we'll become better people for it. But in the meantime, just be good to each other. Take care of each other, and all have a good weekend. And come back and join us again next Friday for another edition of Something to Talk About.